Hello again, this is Aaron, and I'm continuing our 12 Days of Christmas series here with Day 4. Day 4 is in the song, the Four Calling Birds, and just a little bit of background information about that, what that means, how you could think about that in terms of gift giving, and just a little bit of the history. So let's get to it. The Four Calling Birds, again, that's the fourth day of Christmas. And this one has a little bit of debate about it because the term initially, as far as we can tell, was actually collie birds, not calling. Collie, Colly, or I've also seen it Collie. This is a reference to a regional English term that they used for the word black. And I think they say that if there's a collie dog breed, it's also black. So because of that, when the song, the lyrics spread, outside of that region, people didn't quite know what to make of it. So they've used different words to call it over time, and right now, at least in America here, it seems like calling is the one that we refer to most, and that is Calling, not Culling. That would be something much more scary and terrible if birds are just going around calling things. You pretty much can't call anything without the idea of destruction. So, yes, let's not have any of that. We do not need that. Anyway, moving along here. The sorry, mechanical failure here. The what this represents in terms of Christian thought and process is the four gospels that call all people to Christ, that they are the gift. And we've already had in the second day the New Testament, but the gospel themselves specifically here, that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, that these are our gifts from our true love, which is God, to give us these books to show us the path to him. Now, it's a little odd when you think about the Apocrypha, the Gospel of Thomas, or that sort of thing, but that's not a common thing, and I don't think that anyone was worried about that when they were writing this, so we won't worry about that either. Again, the usual sort of imagery used, which is not the picture I have up here, but is the idea of a blackbird, again, because of the collie old reference. So, four birds, which, again, being given for blackbirds doesn't seem like a great gift. But it's just what they represent. So, now, I mentioned before in the last video that each day tends to have a sort of reference to something or someone important in the church. The fourth day of Christmas is a interesting one. It's actually a really scary one when you think about it. That is, this honors the holy innocents. I believe that's the term that's used for all of the people who were slaughtered when they were trying to kill Jesus. To remember the story, the idea of the birth of Messiah, when that was first heard, King Herod over the Israel area decided that he would start just massacring all the young boys because one of them could be this Jesus. And even though we don't know exactly what his faith was like, but he was not having anything to do with that. And that's why Jesus fled to Egypt and lived in Egypt in his early years, because they were just killing all the male babies. It's reflection back to Moses' time too, when all the firstborns were getting killed, and Moses somehow survived. It's a callback, which is the New Testament constantly refers back to the Old Testament. Things that happen there happen again, but in slightly different ways, but in ways that reflect it to show the connection. And so we remember the holy innocents, all the people who were killed just because, I wouldn't say because of Jesus, because that sounds weird, but they were killed by a ruler who didn't want to let go of what he thought was better, which, it wasn't. So, what would you give somebody on the fourth day of Christmas? The idea of 4 calling birds, and to have this sort of memory of the innocent kids that were killed. Um, and again, also to think in light of the 4 Gospels of what calls people to Christ. So this one is a little bit tougher, and this might be a good day to kind of make up something else that doesn't deal directly with this, because giving a gift that's childlike could be useful. I mean, if you're giving the gift to the child, that's not going to matter, but maybe something that's below their maturity level a little bit. Not something that they would find disinteresting or boring immediately, but not something that stretches them in any particular fashion. So something mild, something maybe even a little bit goofy, just because, again, the reflection on this one is kind of dark. But again, the gospel, this is our hope. This is what has given us our future. And there is definitely some room there so to work with. I would say that if we want to do something, we could give somebody 4 things, but that's also the idea here that we've talked about, is just doing 1 a day. So my intention here is not to tell you what to give people, but to just throw some ideas out. So if this was something you'd wanted to do, if you want to follow this sort of pattern, that you would have some cost to do it. So the Gospels give us hope. If you could find something that might give somebody hope, that could be great. But knowing what that would be could be very difficult, even for a family member. If we knew how to give a family member hope, hopefully we would do it. But again, with Christmas time, it can be tricky. Again, this would be the 28th of December, which again is the date I'm recording and posting this. So keep that in mind too. Some of these dates mean a little bit more than others, but this would be a good day. Again, do something kind of light, just because of the seriousness of the reflection. And there's a lot of dark attachments as we go along, but the idea of that would be to just soften the mood. So, okay. Thank you again for listening, and tomorrow we'll be back with the 5th day. Hopefully this can be of some use to you, and I have something good for the golden ring, so you'll like that. Thank you very much.